Hello everyone. Today I will be talking about coffee and how to make coffee using a French press. I have previously worked as a barista for 1 year, and one of the easiest ways to make a delicious cup of coffee is with a French press. Coffee is the second most popular beverage in the world. Over 2.25 billion cups of coffee are consumed every day by the world. In America, 64% of adults currently consume coffee every day. French presses come in a wide variety, from more traditional to modern and larger small sizes. The main similarities between all French presses is that they use a mesh filter that you can plunge down the ground coffee to the bottom of the container, separating the brewed coffee from the ground. So let me just show you. This is the mesh filter. One reason why it is so popular around the world is because of its simplicity to use, but can still make a delicious and flavorful cup of coffee. Now, if you want a more balanced flavor versus a stronger taste, I would recommend getting a filter roasted coffee rather than espresso roasted coffee grounds. The one I have is a medium pike place roast from Starbucks. It is an espresso roasted coffee from Latin America with subtly rich flavors of chocolate and toasted nuts. Now, if you take a look at the grounds, you can notice that the grounds are finer, which would result in a stronger and more intense flavor, while coarser grounds would have a lighter taste. Now let's look at what you will need to make a fresh cup of coffee. So you will need a kettle. I have an electric kettle that allows me to set the water to the desired temperature. But if you have a normal kettle, you can get a thermometer to take the temperature of the water. Next, you'll need a tablespoon to measure how much coffee grounds you will put into the French press. Next, you will need a measuring cup for the amount of water, and you can use a normal mug. You also need ground coffee. Like I mentioned earlier, it depends on your taste and preferences for what kind of coffee you desire. Lastly, you need a French press. It's also called a coffee press. Now, I have a modern Bodum standard press. Bodum is one of the very traditional brands that make the French press popular in France. So it would be a safe bet to buy one from them. This one is about $20. You can get French presses anywhere from 15 to 50, but I wouldn't pay more than 30 because the quality will be similar. It's just some of the more decorative and aesthetically pleasing ones will be a little bit more expensive. So for every 3 tablespoons of coffee, we're gonna need 1 cup of water. I'll be using 4 cups of water, so I will need 12 tablespoons of coffee grounds. And when making coffee with a French press, we want our temperature to be 195 degrees to 200 degrees. Now, if you don't have a electric kettle that can set the temperature for you, you can use a thermometer. So now I'll be putting 12 tablespoons of coffee grounds into the French press for the 4 cups of water that we will be using later. Now that the water is ready, we'll be pouring it into the French press with our coffee grounds. Don't fill up the coffee press just yet. Use a spoon to stir the coffee grounds into the water. This allows it to bloom. Basically the water incorporating into the coffee grounds. Let it sit for 30 seconds. Now that 30 seconds have passed, we will fill it up. Now remember, do not fill it all the way to the top because we will be using our filter. Now we will let it sit for approximately 4 minutes before we press down on the plunger. It's been 4 minutes and we're gonna push the plunger down. Now remember, when you're pushing the plunger down, you have to do it very, very slowly so that the grounds don't filter through. And you have to push it all the way through. Now we just made a freshly brewed coffee from the French press. Enjoy!